Hi, I'm Mark Vernarelli, and welcome to Inside Harford County, a program where we sit down with our community leaders and discuss the issues important to the citizens of Harford County. Did you know that Harford County is older than America itself? That's right, 252 years old, or 252 years young, we should say. The community has certainly seen centuries of change, growth, and a lot of stories worth celebrating. From preserving treasured artifacts to sharing the stories that shaped our nation, the Historical Society of Harford County keeps our past alive and connects it to our future. And joining us today to talk about just that, the nonprofit Harford County Historical Society, we have County Executive Bob Cassilly and Roxan Redd-Wallace, who has been with the Harford County Historical Society almost as long as Harford County's been around, right? Or it feels that way, right? Great to have you here today. Thank you so much. Sir, welcome back.
Good to see you again, Mark.
Hope things are going well.
Thanks for being here for us. We appreciate having you.
It's very important to preserve local history wherever you live. And I guess, Mr. Cassilly, I have to ask you, why are you so focused on local history? I know your family goes back a long way. We'll talk about that in a minute, but why preserve local history? What's important?
So we have a really rich history in Harford County. As you pointed out, we're older than the country, and it's full of just wonderful triumphs and some pretty sad tragedies as well. And a lot of smart folks have put a lot of thought into all of this, and we can learn from their experiences and build on those, or we can repeat their mistakes. So it's better to know our history and learn from them and move forward.
And speaking of history, your family has traced its history back hundreds of years in Harford County, right?
Yeah, so we were here before there was a county, before there was a country, and I have two of my family members who were signers of the Bush Declaration that the county leaders signed leading into the Revolutionary War, and my family's been a part of, they've served in every war from the Revolutionary War up to Afghanistan and Iraq, from family members right here in Harford County, so we're a rich part of this county.
Absolutely. And Roxanne, I know I want to hear about the Historical Society, but I want to hear about your family too. Your family goes back a long way in Harford County as well, right?
Well, I can trace my family back probably 4 generations. That's about it. Of course, it's always difficult for African Americans and any minorities to do tracing of their history because they just didn't keep records. We weren't that important. So I got involved with the Historical Society while researching my family history.
I was just about to ask you, how did you start? But it was a personal mission that became a passion, I guess.
Yes.
So you've been there how long? Long time, really?
Well, I think I went in the first time to visit probably back in 2002 after I retired from the military.
So you went with a mission of finding your own family roots, so to speak, and you loved it so much and saw so many opportunities to help other people, you just stayed there.
Well, I don't know whether I stayed totally. I worked on my own family history, and then I got pulled off into some other projects, but they were still connected to the Historical Society because that's where we went to get most of our information. So it's been a long ride, but an enjoyable one. And I did want to bring you greetings from the staff at the Historical Society, Miss Chris Potts, who's our executive director. She couldn't be here today, and also our outgoing board president, Mr. Bill Walden, our incoming president, Dr. Chuck Costoro, and our 30 to 40 volunteers.
Wow.
A lot of people don't realize how many volunteers we have at the Historical Society.
And a lot of people don't know where it is even. Tell us where it is and what the mission is.
Okay. Yeah, well, the Historical Society is currently located at 143 North Main Street. If you go down Main Street going out towards the detention center, if you get to Gordon Street, you're there at the Historical Society on the right-hand side. Our mission basically is to collect, preserve, and interpret the rich and diverse history of Harford County for future generations.
And you have such a treasure trove of stuff there. Let's start with artifacts. What are the particularly notable, and I know there are many artifacts that come to mind when you think about what you have there? Okay.
Well, some of our artifacts include, some of the oldest ones that we have include some petroglyphs that were taken out of the Susquehanna River back in 1928 before they put the Conowingo Dam in. Okay.
Wow.
There was a village that was there. They found the petroglyphs. Actually, they were first seen by John Smith as he was coming up the Susquehanna River, and that's where it's first noted they were there. We don't know how old they are. We think around 1,000 to 3,000 years old, but we can't carbon date them.
Right.
So we have some of those on display. Actually, they were so large, they were taken from the area of the river, and they had to be blown up in order to take it out. They thought it was significant enough that they should keep them, petroglyphs.
Sure.
But they had to blow them up in order to take them out of the river, and then they put them back together with concrete or cement in order to glue them back together. And they're significant because they tell us that the history of the indigenous people that were here. And if we want to talk about history, then we need to talk about everyone's history. And unfortunately, the Susquehannock Indians, the Susquehannock Native Americans are now extinct. Extinct.
Right. That's fascinating that they're actually thought to be over 1,000 years old. That is really remarkable. You have also some very important declarations and papers and things that maybe a lot of local Harford counties don't even know about.
Oh, I think we estimate that we've got about 5,000 documents, 500,000 documents in our collection. We have the actual original Bush Declaration, which the county executive alluded to, that was signed by 34 men here in Harford County. We keep it in a safe location, and we bring it out every now and then for special occasions. We did have it out when we were celebrating the signing of the Declaration, and I'm sure it will be back out on display once we open our museum.
500,000 documents, and did I read correctly, 50,000 photographs?
Yes.
That's a lot of photographs.
It is a lot of photographs. And Mr. Walter Holloway, he's fantastic. He's a walking encyclopedia, born and raised in Bel Air area. And he's the one who catalogs all of our photographs and things for us. We've got photographs going back to as early as the 1800s, with the tintype photographs. We have a lot of those on file. Many of them we have the names of individuals, but very many of them we do not. And so it really excites us when people come in and donate items to us that are old like that, but they can give us the provenance on it, who the person is, when it was taken, and that type of thing.
And people love to look at old photographs. There's just some fascinating pictures you're seeing right now. And like you said, you can't document everything in them, but you can certainly document the period or estimate the period.
Exactly.
Now, what about clothing, textiles, things like that? A lot of that there too, I'm sure.
Yes, we have lots and lots of textiles in our collection. And what people need to know is they can't just come in and look at a collection, because we bring them out by piece for different exhibits and things of that nature. Currently, we have an exhibit at the County Administrative Office building.
Right. 220
of quilts.
South Main, yeah.
Of quilts. There's a quilt exhibit also at Harford Community College. The quilts were lent to them from the Historical Society. We have baby clothes. We have kids' clothes. We have adult clothing. And it's not like when you would go to a Smithsonian and you'd see articles from famous people. It's clothing from everyday people. So we're really proud of that.
That's fantastic. How about artwork? I'm sure you have a lot of artwork as well.
We do have a lot of artwork in our collection. That collection is housed in our basement area. We have oil paintings. We have some. I'm going to say oil. We have watercolors. We have some and other types of art, and it covers just a lot of different subject areas. We have portraits. We have landscapes. We have
a little bit of everything.
Yeah, a little bit of everything.
I mean, the pictures that we're seeing on the screen right now are just amazing. To see the variety of the things that you have. I want to come back in a moment to ask you more about your, I'll call it a personal project, which was a pamphlet program for African American history. But Mr. Cassilly, first I want to ask you, how does the county support the Historical Society per se?
Yeah. So our historic preservation planner for the county is our liaison to the Historical Society, and he provides guidance on just historic preservation of buildings and artifacts. He also participates in the lectures, the events, and on architectural history that are put on at the Historical Society. And he serves on the Historical Society's building committee, so he gives advice on historic preservation and how to effectively preserve them, including the preservation of the Hayes House Museum, which is another part of the Historical Society's bailiwick. And Roxanne alluded to we have a program of bringing history to the people. So the Historical Society is at one end of Main Street, the county office building's at the other end of Main Street, and so we dedicated a piece of the main lobby as a little display case for the Historical Society. So every month they bring items in and set up displays, because so many people who wouldn't even go to the Historical Society come in to pay their taxes or visit the county office buildings. And we've had textiles and historical artifacts from different periods, and in Veterans Day we've had, the Historical Society has a really rich array of uniforms, partly because of Aberdeen Proving Ground. People retire from Aberdeen Proving Ground, and then grandfather passes away, and the family's got these incredible uniforms from the War of 1812 or something like that, and they bring it in and they donate to the Historical Society. So rather than leave those in the trunks all the time being preserved, we bring them out. We have some mannequins and put them on display in the lobby, and it's been real popular.
That's great. And I bet you some of the people who came in to pay their bills or taxes ended up visiting you, Roxanne, because their interest was piqued by those displays. That's great. You had a pamphlet program, which is very important, I want you to talk about, which helped to preserve African American history. Tell us how that worked and how that idea came about.
Well, that wasn't actually a Historical Society program, but it was birthed through the Historical Society. Right. Mr. Jerome Herschel, who's no longer with us, was an activist, political activist here in Harford County, and he was very interested in ensuring that women and minorities get elected into positions here in the county. And so he brought together a grassroots group of people who started putting together a weekly pamphlet on African American history here in Harford County. And we talked about we talked about schooling, we talked about churches, we talked about music, we talked about sports, but we put out pamphlet every week via the internet. And then it got to be too much, and then about a year in, we started going back to once every 2 weeks. And then eventually the committee disbanded. But we were given an Historic Preservation Award from the Harford County government prior to our disbanding.
That's fantastic. Ms. Cassilly, you talked about supporting the Historical Society.
Yeah.
How does the county support the issue of historic preservation as it is?
Yeah, so we have a number of programs. The Historic Landmarks and District program protects 70 individual sites and villages, landmarks, including Edgeley Grove. Is a farmhouse that was built by Samuel Catwell, one of the signers of the Bush Declaration, and many others. We also have 2 historic districts. One of those is the McComas Village, which that includes a freedman school, which is one of the schools that were established by President Lincoln at the end of the Civil War to educate the freed blacks, that give them a basic education, and the historic church near that, as well as the graveyard. We have historic preservation tax credits that we allow the folks who preserve these historic properties. We have a Historic Preservation Commission that consists of folks who are experts in historic preservation to advise folks in planning and archaeology and the like, just provide expert guidance on historic preservation. And then we also have the Historic Preservation Awards that we do every year to celebrate historic preservation successes, whether somebody refurbishes a building or a display project. And just to draw attention to those, and thanks folks for engaging in historic preservation.
Roxanne, the county executive a moment ago mentioned the Hayes House, which is the oldest house in Bel Air, and it's so named, I guess, because it was in the Hayes family for almost a century and a half. That's an important project of yours as well. Talk a little bit about the Hayes House, if you can.
Well, it's a project for the Historical Society.
Right.
It's not my personal project. But Dr. Sandra Wallace, who was here to visit with you not too long ago, is the chairperson of the Hayes House Preservation Committee, and she's an Energizer bunny, to say the least. The building itself was built in 1788. It was just a 2-room structure at that time, a lower level and a bedroom upstairs. And then it was purchased by Mr. Thomas Hayes, who put an addition on, added a dining room and a kitchen area. It was then in 2002, I believe, it was renovated by Mr. Vic Miller, who is on our board of trustees. He worked and added a functional kitchen for the period, 1814 period kitchen, with an operational hearth, cooking hearth. And then they added a bathroom to make it ADA approved, compliant. And so they have cooking demonstrations there. As a matter of fact, last weekend they had a cooking demonstration for making apple butter. And they stirred apple butter out in the yard for like 6 hours
Wow.
to make apple butter.
A lot of stirring.
A lot of stirring, yeah. There's a prep kitchen there for that purpose as well. So we didn't talk about any of the renovations that have been done there, but we'll probably talk about those a little bit later,
Sure.
yes.
Absolutely. Your own headquarters, the Historical Society itself, that building is something of a project as well, right? Doesn't date back to the age of the Hayes House, but it's pretty old. Have you done a lot of work on that building as well?
We've done, as the county executive said, we've done extensive work on his headquarters building. We obtained the building in 1995. It was given to us by the Harford County government. It was in pretty bad shape at the time, as old buildings are. We removed the front airlock off the doors. They had built an outer door to keep the air out. We removed that and took it back to its original facade. We've done extensive renovations in the entryway to the Historical Society. We talked a little bit about the Cardiff marble a little bit earlier. We've gone back and found the original paint color. We hired a team to help us design it so that we could open it up as a museum coming up in 2026. We've done work on the cupola. We've restored the windows. We've restored the old doors. We've added a film to the windows to help with fading of colors and things of that nature of the items that we have stored there. So we're really excited. There's a two-way display cases that have been built, and display cases that people can actually pull out and look at artifacts, actual artifacts and things of that nature that are in the museum.
You have some tremendous programs the Historical Society does. The Harford County Museum, a Sports Hall of Fame, which a lot of people probably didn't even know existed, and of course extensive African American history exhibits. Talk a little bit about those as you can. I know it's a lot of stuff to go into, but just touch on each of them because I know those are really important things.
Well, let's start with the Sports Hall of Fame. Dr. Chuck Castoro, our new incoming president, he is primarily, he and, what's Wattie's first name? Keith Watson are primarily are heading that. We are going into our third year this year. We'll be having our celebration on May, I believe, the 21st. No, May the 20th, Wednesday, May the 20th at the Maryland Golf and Country Club. Each year we install individuals from Harford County who have been important in sports. Some of the people that have been inducted are Kimmy Meisner,
Cal Ripken?
Cal Ripken. We haven't done Ripken yet. Ripken hasn't been done yet.
No.
Kimmy Meisner, but maybe this year, Mike Atkins, who was a champion in jiu-jitsu. We've inducted Coach Bill Brown, who was a gold medalist at the Pan Am Games, and other professionals from the NBA to the NFL to the hockey, those types of things.
Yeah, that's a lot of history just in sports, but you have African American history, huge component. Talk a little bit about that as well.
Well, as I said, it's very difficult to trace African American history because the documentation just isn't there to go back as far as the white population can go. However, we have done our very best to pull together as much information about the African American presence here in Harford County as we possibly can. I can talk about, I talked a little bit about the pamphlets that Mr. Herschel got started with us, the project for Campaign 42. But recently we had a Trials and Triumphs traveling exhibit that was funded through Harford County government, where we partnered with the Hosanna School Museum out in Darlington, which was one of the very first schools open for African American children coming out of slavery. We partnered with them to put together an exhibit that traced African American history here in Harford County that we could take out to the community. And we started, of course, with slavery because that's where it began for African Americans here in Harford County, and brought it all the way up to present day.
Beautiful exhibit too, as we've just seen on the screen. It's just a fantastic exhibit, and I really applaud you for doing it the way you did, and hopefully a lot of the school kids will be able to see that. That's really well done.
Yes,
how about the heritage tourism aspect of tourism? You don't hear a lot about it, sir, but heritage tourism is very important too.
Yeah, so Harford County, we use our destination marketing organization, which is Hello Harford, and to advertise the events that the Historical Society puts on, and to advertise their museums and the like. And those are all available through the Hello Harford webpage. and folks can see all the many activities that the Historical Society does. There's so many lectures and things that they put on all the time. Our county staff to help to market those events as well, just providing the marketing materials to help make them successful. Right now we did Bush 250, which we did a program with you on that one, we're working on the Lafayette 200 celebration. We help promote that one, and we're currently partnering with the Historical Society on America 250, which is coming up this summer. So we'll have America 250, Maryland 250, Harford 250, all different pieces. So we're putting that together with the Historical Society right now.
Roxanne, in all of your research, both personal and as a key part of the Historical Society, does something stick out to you, a really interesting piece of information that you did not know or that surprised you about Harford County history? Probably a lot of stuff has really been amazing, but does anything stick out to you in all your years down there, something that you didn't know or something that you discovered that maybe had a twist to it, anything really interesting?
Well, there's a lot that I didn't know. There's a lot that I didn't know. I didn't know that Harford County had such a rich history of with horse racing. I didn't know that as a child. I mean, I was born and raised here, but I don't remember my mother ever talking about horse racing and that type of thing. That was one of the things. I can't think of anything that's,
well, you come across so much stuff on a daily basis, you probably get overwhelmed by things sometimes. And I think a lot of us don't understand, no matter where we live or grew up, how important local history is. And Mr. Cassilly, you're always talking about that.
Yeah, my father used to volunteer at the Historical Society, and he was going through pictures one time, and he came across a picture that was sort of one of these deja vu moments, and he realized that was a photograph of him and his mother and my mother as he left off for World War II.
Oh my goodness.
At this train station in Aberdeen, and he starts looking and says, oh, that's my family saying goodbye. So there's just so much history that people who've been around for a while can get involved in. It's pretty amazing, the stuff that's there.
The train station, which also recently got a preservation award when they picked it up and moved it.
Moved it over.
And that's where all the troops were coming and going back in the day. That's amazing, amazing stories right in our backyard all the time.
This is the train station. It's in Aberdeen, right on West Bel Air Avenue. It's beautifully restored.
Right. Roxanne, go ahead, please.
I was going to say, if I can go back to that question that you asked me about surprising stories, if I can talk a little bit about Sergeant Alfred B. Hilton. Okay, many of your viewers probably don't know that we do have a Medal of Honor recipient here in Harford County, and that was Sergeant Alfred B. Hilton. He was born here in Harford County, the son of formerly enslaved parents, grew up in the Havre Grace area out off of Route 155, joined the military in 1863. From Havre Grace with two of his brothers. So before we had Saving Private Ryan.
Right.
His aptitude was so great that they promoted him to the position of sergeant immediately and assigned him to be the regimental color bearer. He was mustered in Baltimore along with his brothers, trained there, and they got a parade through the city before they were shipped off to other locations, where the women of Baltimore, the black women of Baltimore, presented a unit with a regiment flag, a United States flag. And it was during the Battle of New Market Heights, Virginia in September of 1864. Sergeant Hilton was carrying the U.S. flag as he led other troops in their march on Richmond, Virginia.
Wow.
He came upon a fallen soldier who had lost his regimental colors, and he picked up those colors as well and carried those forward until he himself was injured and no longer able to continue. And so that history we did not know until we went to the Historical Society of Harford County.
Wow.
And Mr. Jim Crismer was notified by Mr. Roswell Dorsey, who was also a volunteer. Can't say enough about our volunteers, who brought that to Mr. Crismer's attention. He did the research, and then we were able to follow up with that research. Since that time, we have a park named for Sergeant Hilton. We have a memorial in Havre Grace for him. There's an overpass at 95 that's been named for him, and Post 55 in Bel Air has been renamed in his honor.
Fantastic. Talk about your volunteers. Go ahead and give them a shout out.
I want to shout out our volunteers.
You have 40 volunteers.
We have about 40 volunteers, and they are fantastic. They are the muscle, the the sinew, the bones of our society. They do everything. Whatever you ask them to do, they will do. And it's amazing because many of them are elderly, my age and older, and there are teachers and historians and business owners, and just, they are fantastic. Librarians, they do everything. They keep the Historical Society going, and we really need more volunteers. We do have one full-time employee, Ms. Potts, and we have 2 part-time employees, but our volunteers are what make the society
And how can
go.
somebody become a volunteer? What do they do, or whom do they contact to become a volunteer?
They can go online. There's a form online that they can fill out. They can call the society or come in on one of the days that we're open. We're open on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays for research, and one Saturday a month for research.
Mr. Cassilly, I know there's a website out there that people can go to. What's that all about? How can they find out more?
Sure, HarfordHistory.org. HarfordHistory.org.
Very easy to remember.
Key into the Historical Society. It's got their their calendar of events, and you can take a look at what's there. It's a great resource. I encourage people to come on out. Even if you're not from Harford County, you'll find it very interesting and enjoyable.
Roxanne, America 250, only have a little bit of time to talk about it, but I know that's a big thing coming up, a milestone anniversary if ever there was, and what are we looking forward to for that?
Well, we have a committee, a subcommittee that is chaired by Ms. Potts and Mr. Jacob Benson, and we are working with them. We have a whole committee that comes together and meets every month. We're coordinating with communities, individuals and organizations all over the community to bring programs together. We want people to work in teams if possible, or more than a team if possible, to bring programs for Harford 250, America 250. I'm sure there will be parades, there will be lectures, there will be events for children, much like we did for the Bush Declaration. You know.
And then in 2026, the Hayes House, we look forward to that reopening with after all that work that was done. So that's another milestone event coming up. Anything else coming up that you can think of that's right around the corner?
Oh, right around the corner we have our Christmas program that's coming up. I forgot about our Christmas program.
The historic walks. Those are a fun one. You can go on the webpage, the HarfordHistory.org, and you can see, or on the Hello Harford webpage. And they've got a series of walking history tours that you can do, and now through, I think, the 26th of December, that's coming up. And there's many more. I'll turn it over to you, Roxanne. What else?
Well, those tours are done by Miss Julie Brash. She's one of our volunteers as well. Our Christmas theme this year is a Yuletide Christmas. He talked, county executive talked about the walking tours. You'll have opportunities to come into open houses. The Hayes High House is always beautifully decorated by the Evergreen Garden Club, and all this is going to be starting on Thanksgiving weekend and running throughout the month of December.
Well, I am so thankful to you, Roxanne, for coming in today, and I know we're all proud of the fact that the oldest historical society in the state of Maryland is right here in Harford County.
Absolutely.
Congratulations. Great work, Roxanne. Thanks to you and your volunteers. I know we're almost out of time, but I can't thank you enough for preserving history, which is so important.
All right.
And thank you, Mr. Cassilly, for being with us again.
Absolutely.
Always good to talk about something positive, and history is certainly one of those positive things. And thank you for watching Inside Harford County, airing exclusively on Harford TV. Please join us again next month. I'm Mark Vernarelli. Thanks again for watching.